we recording?
We are recording. We are live.
I will call the meeting to order then. Melissa, would you call the roll?
Ginger Riddle.
Present.
Jeanette Libby-Holdeman.
Yes, here.
Brian Payne.
Here.
Jerry Geese.
Here.
Nancy McDougall.
Here.
Mike Spazzo.
Here. We have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from last February 18th, exactly 4 weeks ago, because there were 28 days. Has everybody had a chance to read them? Any comments on them? Anything the staff wants to add? Nope. Can I have a motion?
I move we approve the minutes from the February meeting.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Ginger Riddle.
Yes.
Jeanette Libby-Holdeman.
Yes.
Brian Payne.
Abstain?
Jerry Geese.
Yes.
Nancy McDougall.
Yes.
Mike Spazzo.
Abstain.
Okay, does that pass?
Four. That's four.
Yeah, 4 out of 7. Okay. The first case under new business is case ZN TXT text 260001. Boy, there expect to be 1,000 of them this year. We got some zeros. It's an artisan rural enterprise special use permit process being introduced, and it's kind of lengthy and complicated. So I'm going to ask the staff to kind of brief us on.
Yeah.
All right. Next time I'll ask for a warning on that. Okay, so here's what happened. We have had a couple of questions from residents in the city that said, hey, look, I have a couple acre property of land, and I have a Morton building on it, a shed, whatever you want to call it. I want to start a business, or I have started a business. I want to use my property to work out of. If it was them, we have a path. We have a path of home occupations. If it was only them, or them plus a kid who lived on site. Okay. If they were someplace else and they had a property and it's zoned industrial because it's a metal shop or a fab shop of some type, we have a pathway for that. It's industrial zoned. Move on. What the problem is that once you get past the way the home occupation license is written currently, once you get past non-family members, or people, more accurately, people who don't live on site, working for you at your location, you no longer fit in a home occupation license. So how do we thread this needle? And this is kind of where I prepped you guys for this last month. We could have put we have in the table. We could have put under artisan. Let me get the actual name of it. There is a use under industry which is limited or artisan manufacturing. We could have just put a conditional use permit on that and moved on. However, I wanted to really focus this and try to limit it to agricultural uses and somewhat adjacent agricultural uses. Because we had somebody come and ask the city, hey, can we do this here? Right? And it's a metal fab shop. If they would have potentially lied to me and said, yeah, we only work on tractors or on farm equipment, we could have fit them in under agriculture, light processing or something to that effect, right? We could have fit them in under something just already there. But they didn't. They said, hey, we're working with other people. We're working with people throughout the area, not just agriculturally based. So how do we thread that needle of opening up the possibility for small business development at a reduced risk for the small business owner while maintaining control? And this was the option. Not the option. This was a option. this is what I developed. I put in the packet this kind of worksheet here with for us to spark some conversation, some thoughts in your mind of whether or not this works. I will be. That's my report. And so now, I would love to have a conversation about whether you guys think this works or whether you don't. I'm open to whatever.
Okay.
This might be one of we haven't had these type of conversations really much, but we can have these conversations. This is what we are here for. If we need to, if we need to push it a month, we can table this and bring it back next month. We can have a conversation now and make a decision. And maybe you guys think this is ridiculous, and so we just kill it here, and I don't take it to council. But what I heard last month was, and admittedly, it was at the end of the meeting. I kind of threw it at you guys, and you guys, it makes sense with conditional use permits. I thought that the giving very clear, this is the minimum expectations, putting a maximum size of the building, trying to make sure that an agricultural zoned property doesn't just turn into a contractor laydown yard or junk storage or something like that. Try to put some conditions required by the UDO. And then, of course, the Planning Commission can add to that during the application process if we so chose. But that is where I am at.
Okay.
Does that make this amendment make more sense or less sense?
No, that's fine. Good to make sense.
Okay.
This doesn't require a public hearing, but can we do planning commission discussion first? How would we normally do that?
Well, it is a public hearing.
Yeah, but should I open a public hearing or should we have our discussion first?
Well, I mean, you could open the public hearing,
How do we normally do it? I don't remember.
Yeah, I would open it now, and then we just like a rezoning, just like special use permit.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. As long as you have the public hearing,
Yeah,
I don't think it hurts to have discussion because there might be questions that the public commenters may have that hasn't been discussed, and then they'll want to be engaged.
And
because
honestly, looking at the crowd, the public is not here. So we have members from Modern Glass who are here about the rezoning next. So they are pursuing the industrial zone. They have property within the business park. They're rezoning.
I'll open the public hearing. We probably won't have any discussion, but I will open the public hearing at 7:08. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak about this text amendment?
Maybe Terry wants to talk about it. I don't know.
they vote.
No. Okay. Cool.
Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to the planning commission. What are your thoughts, people?
Well, I'll go first.
Okay.
You say maximum building size 5,000 square feet.
Yep.
For the type, for a weld shop, repair equipment, they might need a bigger building than that.
They might.
I don't think putting a minimum or maximum building size in there is probably necessary, because I think you're going to have people running up against it. They're going to be larger than that.
Sure.
What's the thought process on the size?
50 by 100. I looked at what was being requested. We can, and the shop size was much smaller than that.
My concern about being larger or even being that large is that if we were to approve this, we're addressing a problem that may or may not exist and creating a problem down the road of a non-conforming use in an area that might be developed as residential. And if there was a 5,000 square foot building, that's already pretty big. And if it's 10 or 15,000, then you've got this spot zoning, non-conforming, and most likely because we wouldn't zone an industrial acre right in the middle of a
No,
residential. So what we're saying is that I don't know how we can do this to prevent that problem. How are we addressing that problem down the road? We're not putting a time limit. It doesn't have to go away. You can't afford to tear the building down.
Well, currently we have, it's nowhere in the code, but we have a policy of 5 years. We could add a time limit on this conditional use permit that is, but then you and I both know that gets real hard to enforce.
Well, because the building's going to be pretty expensive to say you got to quit using that building.
Right.
That's
the argument against it. Now,
I don't like that. Putting time limits. When I was on the county commission, planning commission, that became a real headache all the time.
Well, then what would keep it from becoming a non-conforming
Well,
use in the future? We assume it develops as residential. I mean, there are some agricultural land that might be business or industrial in the future. I don't have a look at the land use map, but
right. But a lot of it might become residential,
Most
and then
likely,
and then it's this is part of the neighborhood. You move in afterwards.
yeah.
It's like the
You
pig
know,
farm
like-
in Lenexa. I remember that.
You know what's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
But if we're going to say that, we would let anything
Almost.
if that's our criteria. If we're not going to think in logical planning terms.
And this is why I wanted to go with a conditional use permit, because that still allows the flexibility for us to say, no, this really doesn't fit the neighborhood. Maybe it does. There are parcels that this would fit. I wouldn't necessarily know if there's a bunch of ag zoned land still on DeSoto, yeah, and
There is.
I wouldn't necessarily think that would fit on DeSoto. Could be wrong. Somebody could bring in an application. I don't know.
Where is most of the ag land? South?
South and then west. West of DeSoto, generally.
Of course, what you could make the argument, why do we need agricultural zoning? Why couldn't it be single family? You can still farm it.
Well,
Taxes.
Well, taxes are by the use, not by zoning.
that's a county appraiser thing. And again, like I'm sensing some hesitancy to a certain extent, which is great. If we want to pursue this, we can. If we don't, we don't have to. So yeah,
If we choose not to pursue this,
sure.
what's the impact for the folks who are bringing?
So the couple of people who have asked, I have one person in particular. I would say, hey, look, this use doesn't fit. The planning commission met. We're not proceeding with this. We're not making this. We're not going to recommend this text amendment. They can, and at that point, they could either change their scheme, their business plan, or something to that effect. But they would be, for the property that they have currently with the shop already on it, they wouldn't be able to use it in that fashion.
They have
Now,
they'd have
we are
the same-
talking one household out of a couple of thousands in Lansing.
Yep. I got it. I just want to kind of get the
Yeah.
specifics of the case. So their buildings are constructed.
Yep.
Everything. So whether we vote or not, one way or the other, the physical structure, everything about this case remains exactly the same.
I
Well,
believe
What's the building used for?
storage currently.
So it had a permit, and meets the requirements of the.
I'd never actually checked if they pulled a building permit on that. I'm working under the benefit of the doubt for them, because again, they came and they said, hey, they reached out to me and said, hey, look, does this fit? Here's our proposal. So I said, hey, I need a little bit more information. I got that information. Came to you guys last month. Said, hey, is there an appetite for trying to work this out? I will be honest. In doing research, not many other jurisdictions do anything close to this, because it is trying to thread a needle here of supporting an incremental small business to get into the city, get a foot in the door, and I'm going to pick on them because they're in the room. It's kind of exactly what Modern Glass has done, because I've been talking with these guys for close to 5 years at this point, between my time at the county and here. They had a shop out in the county, and they've grown and expanded to a point where they need a larger space, and they want to rezone and build and do that there. And so that's what I wanted to potentially develop, but if that doesn't fit the character of a incorporated city, even though we have semi-large tracts of agriculturally zoned land still, then it doesn't fit.
So to follow the logic of what I was asking there,
Mm-hmm.
so nothing changes physically about this. So
No.
the issue at hand is what do we want to have it look like going forward,
Right.
and what's the appropriate size of a structure
Sure.
that we'd be willing to entertain for a small business on agricultural property with a residence.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Or if
Yeah.
you can do it at all, that's the
Right.
question.
And so I was,
But-
with the definition, I was trying to,
Hiring
I was
people.
thinking of a metal shop, but also as I was looking, I was like, well, in ag land, a studio of some sort, an artist studio would work. You know, you could have your shop, and you could have space to create and do those type of things. So yeah,
As long as it's you working that.
right, potentially, yeah.
Wouldn't it be an example out there across on the west side of 7 out here? I know it's county, but the farmstead or whatever that has the Photoshop or the.
Right, it'll
Yeah.
Crawford
Oh,
property.
I mean, that's kind of what I envisioned. You got that building where they run the
Right.
business out of and take photos and stuff.
Then you got Michael Young down in Wyandotte
Right.
County that has his business, his studio in that Morton building shop behind his house. So, to go further on this, so I thought when we ended the meeting last week, or last month, that we had suggested we'd use the special use permit for this particular thing to accommodate them and
I see you.
Sure.
try and get it to work.
Yeah.
And then, so did you find this artisan rural enterprise somewhere, or did you develop all this, or?
Writing code is a lot of looking at other places and picking and choosing, and so I was begging and borrowing and stealing from other places with this, but putting it together in this format, this was, in my looking in Kansas, I did not look in other states. This would be unique from the 7 to 10 jurisdictions, counties, cities that I looked at.
Okay,
So, but there are bits and pieces of the lot. So the lot size, the building size from other conditional or special use permits that kind of that I pulled from, if that makes sense.
as far as a weld shop goes,
Yeah.
You've got traffic.
Yeah.
You've got semi-trucks, staging or freight distribution and similar delivery and prohibited.
Yeah.
So they got to get their steel somehow. That's going to come on a flatbed semi. They got to get in there. Are you saying they can't get in there?
Yes. If they had
How are they going to get their materials?
So this runs into the question of what size, right? I'm trying to make this the right size, the right type of development for this location. Because maybe the answer is for something that requires a semi, maybe they do need to go out into the county. And the county has a little bit stricter or less strict rules. And they can have deliveries of semi traffic there.
Okay.
I thought that for within the city, with potentially near residential
Okay.
subdivisions, it would not fit.
But let's remember that there's a lot of the areas of the city of Lansing that were annexed. And so you have people that have larger tracts that have the room to accommodate that.
Sure.
And so they didn't ask to be annexed
Sometimes, yep.
for
A lot-
the
a
most
lot-
part.
That
And
would be happening.
so then they're being penalized, held back from using their property the way possibly they intended to use it when they bought it.
Potentially, but we are also offering a way forward, because right now the answer is no. Right now,
With the exception of the special use permit, I thought.
if we approve
change
it.
If we approve it.
If it
Right.
changes.
So we're giving them a way forward. But if there are things in here that, because you've already mentioned the building size, the traffic, if there are things in this that need to be changed, and some of these, maybe instead of having that maximum building size, maybe there needs to be a list of, these are the things that the Planning Commission will review, right? I wanted to set the stage for the conversation with the business owner. So somebody comes into my office, says, this is what I want to do. I want to say, I'm open to changing this. These are the requirements, and these are some hard and fast rules, because those are easier to talk about and discuss. If we wanted to say, Nancy, I'll use you. You say let's amend this, right? But let's add a list of, these are the other things that under, let's see, where is it? Under K, compatibility review. The Planning Commission may impose additional conditions to ensure compatibility with the surrounding uses, including but not limited to building size, hours of operation, traffic, so on and so forth. We could do something like that too.
So there's no, if we say no,
Yes.
the only reason we're saying no, because the structure isn't going to change, it's already there, it's already permanent. The
Yeah.
only reason we're saying no is because they have someone that doesn't live in the residence working there.
Correct.
Why do
Now,
we,
well,
why do we
eh,
care?
Because these are situations that become nuisances for neighbors.
Okay.
These are situations that we want to make sure that the I feel like I need to defend all of zoning right now,
Yeah,
because that's kind of the not exactly, but
That's why we have zoning,
it,
to protect
to-
neighborhoods, to protect.
to a certain extent, right? There are certain things that you can and
But this
you,
is agriculture.
But
well,
yeah, but it's in the city.
It should be.
should be. I'm trying to give you a better answer, and ask the question again, because now I'm spacing.
What's that?
Now I've lost track. So what is the question again?
Why do we care? What
If he has somebody else working there.
what if somebody else works there?
Well, see, a lot of times, like if I can give an example,
Sure.
Josh, would be like, let's say you're going to have an accountant or even an attorney.
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't have a lot of clients come over, but you may need your office administrator come in. You know, somebody who does the billing, things of that nature.
Why do I care?
What
Why do I care if they?
Well, it's the same reason that people care when you put maybe a child care in a home. You have a lot of traffic. You might then have somebody just sitting there parking in your driveway, or they park on the street. You know, there's always something that's going to perhaps bother somebody in the neighborhood that, as a business owner, maybe you don't think it's a big deal. I've got one or two people that come by a day. Well, some people may find that as a big deal. They
Wait
don't
till
want-
somebody puts a dog kennel next door.
Yeah. I mean, you know, in this kind of thing like we're talking about here, it's like, okay, it all sounds great. Then what if somebody wants to put a forge back there? Now they want to be an artisan blacksmither. And now you're in there banging away. Now I understand it would be like, well, you can't be making all this noise. But
right.
people will always be in tune with their own surroundings. And it'll be like, you know, who knows what's going to be a nuisance to somebody that's not a nuisance to you. And I think that's really what this boils down to is who's going to be there, like if I'm the owner of the property and let's say I don't even really play a role with whatever the business is going in there. Let's say you're a metal fabricator. I don't do metal fabrication, but you come to me and go, hey, Greg, I can really use that barn you got back there. Okay, are we really in business together, or am I just renting out to you a space to use within this new zoning thing? Now, I think those are the kind of issues Josh is trying to flesh out here as to what may or may not. The other thing I would bring up would be from a legal perspective, and I can't recall off the top of my head, maybe Jeanette can, she's been here a while. It's either the special use or the conditional use permit that goes with the land. So, for example, if you get this and it says a 5-year conditional use, if the land is transferred, does it automatically kill the conditional use? Because do you really want to sell it to somebody else that, in the scenario I gave you, that you continue to work there even though I've sold the property and left? You know,
Usually that would kill it because the owner is responsible.
right,
But it
goes with
within
the,
that
I can't
zone.
remember which one off the top of my head. I
But
think it's
our conditional uses
goes
go
with-
with the land
yeah, it goes with the
as
deed.
long as the former owner and the current owner let us know that, hey, this is transferred ownership and they are continuing to use the land, right? A couple of years ago, Next Level Auto, I think was the name of the shop, came in before you guys and requested a conditional use permit for an auto shop at the corner of 20th and New Lawrence, 20th or New Lawrence and Eisenhower, right? But that's the same type of thing, right? Would we necessarily want a auto shop in every potential agricultural parcel in the city? I would say definitely not. Brian, you might disagree.
Economically, it won't happen because most of them will go out of business. The best one will be the one that survives.
Yes, but we also have to consider like where are those going to where would those make sense? To also answer your question,
Okay.
Article 404C, paragraph 4 says no person shall be engaged in such home occupation other than a person occupying such dwelling unit as his or her residence. So at the end of the day, that's why we care, because not at the end of the day. One of the reasons is that our regulations are currently set up to say that if you have a home occupation, and there's a lot of things that you can do as a home occupation, but as soon as you have somebody else coming into your house to help you with that business, therefore you are no longer a home occupation, and you do not fit under that. Now, you might still fit, but you need a conditional use permit or something else.
Okay, so where I'm at right now,
Sure.
and I'm not arguing one way or the other. I'm just trying to understand the full
Please.
of this piece.
Yep.
So there's a no and there's a yes.
Yep.
No, I have to understand why.
Sure.
And is there something I can do within the existing rule structure that allows me to get to yes without having to create a whole new category? So that's the first thing. So is there something I can do there? The other one is yes, and yes means the things that I've heard so far discussed is that we have an issue that has localized impact with the immediate neighbors, whether it's a dog kennel or a pig farm or whatever else. And then there's the idea of the utilities impact. How does it affect the city with streets, water usage, electricity, and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a twofold argument with that one. There's a city's perspective, and then there's the localized community's perspective that we need to take into fact. Is that a fair statement?
I think so. A lot of the agricultural zoned property has minimal effect on the city's infrastructure, the city's utilities, specifically storm sewer and stormwater and sewer, because most, I'll say most, I'll put an asterisk next to that. Most of them do not have sewer access, and some of them have stormwater, but
So utilities impact is minimal.
potentially there will be parcels that's not the case, but generally speaking, because of the location of those zoned properties, we have not run sewer.
So then the major issue is going to be the localized impact with neighbors.
Yep, neighbors, traffic, and so neighbors meaning traffic, noise, externalities is the technical.
So if we took these on as a case-by-case basis
Yep, which is what the conditional use permit allows.
and had an open hearing
Yes.
so that the neighbors had the opportunity to come and have their voices heard
Yep.
in the meeting before a vote occurs.
Yep.
We could do these on an individual, one-on-one basis based on localized impact and the city's assessment of what it's going to do to utilities.
Yes.
Except the city of Leavenworth tried that with Core Civic and decided they couldn't.
Okay. Nope. Moving on.
They didn't win that one.
We're done.
So are
Done.
you
We're done.
saying- You're
We're done.
saying that a special use can be denied for good cause, I guess, because the neighbors objected?
No.
The
Could a daycare be denied, special use be denied because the neighbors didn't like the noise?
They can raise it as an issue, but again, it's a land use issue, right?
Well-
And I know you brought up the place that Josh don't want to go, but that was apples and oranges. That was a mixture of national policy issues versus a local land use issue.
But, so then what, if a special use is allowed in a residential neighborhood, there would be no reason, no mechanism or ever any reason to deny it? You could never deny a daycare?
No, it has to be approved. If you're going to have a
it has
non-conforming
limits.
use within a residential, it has to be approved here, has to be approved at the next level, and if they violate it, it can be withdrawn.
I'm not sure what you're saying. You're saying that we must approve it, we can't? There's
No,
option.
if somebody is asking for,
Oh, okay, but it could also be denied.
Yes.
of course.
Okay, well, I misunderstood you. I thought you said it was automatic.
No.
When you were talking about another issue.
Well, but now let's talk about a special use in our community.
Yes.
All
We don't
special
have
uses.
to approve special uses if we
No.
have good reason.
No.
not to.
So in this list, as I built this on page 9 of your packet, right? There are things in here that we would say, no, this doesn't fit, right? There are some that would be maybe. There are definite yeses. There are definite nos, based off of how I wrote the regulations currently, right? Before amendments. But there's that gray area that the conditional use permits are designed for, because we get to say, maybe, but maybe if we establish this condition, sure. If we establish that condition, sure.
It would seem that part of the issue may be if you're talking about somebody already has a structure there that kind of meets the requirements Josh has drawn up. Well, then some other questions that might be asked is how many people are going to show up on a daily basis, right? You know, how many employees might there be? Is it 2, 3? Then it might, if it's an existing structure already, then the next question might be where are 3 or 4 people going to use the restroom? Is it going to be in the primary residential structure? Is that going to be the contemplated thing? Is it going to require some type of, like if it's a new structure, are you going to require that it have a bathroom? You know, it's going to be ADA just like any other business per se, because it is going to be a special use of a business-oriented thing, whether it's a photography studio, blacksmith, metal fabrication. Somebody's going to use the restroom at some point. Is it going to be allowed to have porta potties that have to be emptied out on the weekly thing? You know, that kind of thing. I mean, those are the kind of issues you'll have to play with and determine what the use is going to be and what the impact. Forget for a second just even the outside areas. What is the impact on the actual lot that it's going to be sitting upon? You know, is it going to have access to sewer? I'm presuming it's going to have electrical. You can always get a power pole or something like that. So the utility company always wants more customers. So, but then again, are you going to be able to connect sewer? Is there going to be a sewer? You know, those type of things. Or is the owner going to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to have 3 or 4 people here on the daily, and they're going to use the bathroom in the house? I don't know. Those are just kind of questions I think that would have to be asked before, you know, the process. You know, I don't think you want to see people out in the yard going to the restroom.
I have a real issue. I think to me, it almost looks like we're creating some kind of a requirement. I don't know if you're familiar with House Bill 2343, which is going through now.
Is that the
That
home-based
has
business?
to do with the fact you can open a business wherever you live, however you want to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're not premature in working on this particularly, because that would be a much bigger problem for us.
I will not say what I was about to say. So, yes, that House bill, we are aware that House bill exists and is making its way through the legislature.
Sure, and I don't know, maybe we need to wait with this particular upgrade. Because it's an upgrade to what normally would happen with a special user permit. We're getting into much more nitty-gritty things than, in my opinion, I mean, worrying about bathrooms. I know, and things like that. It would depend on, I mean, if you have an tourism thing, yes, you have to have public bathrooms and parking and all that. How many people are coming? How much street use is that? How much we're going to charge you for the use of the street? It's a whole different animal. I mean, it covers
Maybe
a lot
charge
of
for
things.
parking.
You know, yeah, but it's not. I don't know. I personally don't feel comfortable making that decision on this at the moment. I don't. For some reason, I don't feel like I've got the guts of this.
Okay. So then let me propose. Yeah, let me propose a motion to table, and we bring this through as a work session item, and we sit down around the table.
Before we table it, I'd
Sure.
like to ask a question. And I know we're talking about a text a minute. We're not talking about a specific property.
Correct.
But Brian brought this up about this guy that already has
Yeah.
a barn. Can you use an outbuilding for the use that he wants if he's the only employee? He can have a machine shop in agricultural zoning?
I don't have
Would that meet the definition of home occupation?
it. Home occupation.
I thought home occupation had to be in the main structure.
Um,
Well, I think it'd be an accessory
within
structure
the-
on the property,
Well-
and then if it's a business, it's a business.
The business structure.
yeah. So shall be entirely contained within the interior of a structure,
Okay, that's
not exceeding 25% of the floor area of the dwelling unit.
That's the ratio.
so that leads you to believe it has to be in the house.
I would. That is an interpretation. I will say that. So
Well, let's say it could be. Is that a use that would be a home occupation permitted use?
we have precisely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Examples?
7 shall not in any event include the following. So 7 prohibited, unless they are permitted through a conditional use permit. So it is fairly open, and I would, 8. There's one on the next page. I would be fairly open to a lot of things fitting under home occupations, especially in today's environment with the cost of buildings and rentals. And,
Working from home?
yeah, working from home and all of those things. So would be open to a lot fitting under that if they are not bringing other people onto the property.
Yeah.
On the regular.
Does
So
any-
that
Does the commission feel comfortable making a motion to table to a study session, or does anybody else want to ask any questions or input? Yes and no. I see both going.
Yeah. I
I'm
think,
in favor of table.
so
Yes.
who's gonna make the motion first?
I
And
can
then we
make
can fight
the
about
motion.
that. But
When is this
they're in.
session going to occur?
We could have it before the next plan. We've not actually done this before, so
Exactly. That's the reason I'm asking.
I would say that we would go with the
Same
next.
group of people still going to meet again
Right.
to have this discussion.
Correct. But at that point, I think we would get out we would all have copies. We'd sit around the table.
kind of
We
work session.
and you guys would have time to look. I would be able to provide you guys some more information.
I think that's a good way to proceed.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to table it and do that. But let's get it scheduled.
We have
Okay.
a motion. on the
So
floor.
then let's. Let's see. How can we create that? Let's craft that. We table it until. No, we can just pick it up at another. We can plan on picking it up at another time. Greg, you got any thoughts besides?
Well, I think we've done it before in the past where either you have your meeting and then just go into a work session afterwards or do it before
Yeah.
and then go into the meeting.
I would plan on having a work session before. This is April's meeting.
Okay.
So
Then you
Okay.
just notice
Shall
it
I-
up.
I'll
Yeah.
make it.
Okay,
Did you
let's
make
do
it
it. Well, let's do it
officially?
again. Somebody do it.
All right. I propose that we table CN TXT 260001 Artisan Rural Enterprise CUP.
I second what she said.
okay.
Let's call the roll.
Ginger Riddle,
Yes.
Jeanette LeBee Holdeman,
Yes.
Brian Payne,
Yes.
Jerry Geese,
Yes.
Nancy McDougal,
Yes.
Mike Swazo.
Yes. And we won't have to worry about a public hearing on this because we've already had one, is that correct?
That is the way that I would proceed, but I would talk with legal counsel about that before
Yeah, well,
making it.
rephrase your question, because it's like, we've had a public hearing on what?
Well,
It
on this
wasn't
text
approved.
amendment. If we made significant changes, you think we would probably have to have a new public hearing?
I think we would, if we're gonna,
Yeah.
because right now what we've done is we've had a public
We've
hearing
shown
on
what-
this.
yeah.
No action was taken.
Yeah.
Now it's been tabled, or if you wanted to table the public hearing to the next meeting that's scheduled, you could probably, but that has to be a date determined. Like,
Right,
if you
and
wanna-
also,
And then that way people understand that the public hearing has been continued to the next date. Yes, sir.
Well, because public hearing requires notice in the paper with Josh.
Well, but you could continue a public.
Right, I mean, what's
we've
the,
already opened it,
it,
we've already
close it.
closed
All
it.
right.
so just, we'll have to
And we-
re-have.
and we close-
Because we might make significant changes, it may look totally different.
Well, my thought is if you're gonna have the work session, then let's say you make an agreement or you guys come together on what your
Following.
general consensus
Yeah,
is.
we won't.
Then you have it set up again with public hearings.
Because we wouldn't take action that night.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So we're all clear. We've tabled the motion, or tabled this case. We have tabled it to a work session before the April meeting, and we are planning on having this text amendment come back on the May Planning Commission, potentially,
Yeah, if,
but depending on how the work session goes. Okay, great, fantastic.
the next case under new business is case ZNRZ 260001, Lansing Business Center rezoning on Lot 8. This is a proposal to rezone from B3 to I1. This business park, we've seen another rezoning in there a couple of months ago, and this is similar to that. The proposed use
very similar.
requires the I1 zoning. There is a proposed use, and it would require the I1 zoning.
Yep.
Your staff report included findings of facts and so forth, and Josh, you have anything you want to add to that?
No, like I said, like you mentioned, this is similar to another project that we've done in the recent couple of months. The findings of facts are presented there under. I don't have that label as a table. Anyway, on page 2 of the staff report, or page 15 of the agenda packet.
And it is a, go ahead,
I guess I'll make a motion to approve.
whip the public hearing.
Yeah.
You gotta do-
Because it's a rezoning, it requires a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing at 7:42 and ask if anybody in the audience wants to speak. I think
Yeah.
you guys are the applicants, are you not?
Correct.
Do you have anything you want to say?
No, we were just here to answer questions if you had any about what we do.
Okay, well, I'm assuming we'll have to see a site plan.
Correct. They are still working on the site plan.
So we'll know more at that point. This is just a zoning question, and
Yep.
it seems to be appropriate because of everything else in that district. Does anybody have any discussion before we take a motion? No. And the motion include finding of facts?
Motion approved.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Did you get that?
No, he's
Finding of
just
facts
closing
and-
it right now.
and approval?
Is that a motion to close the public hearing?
Oh,
No.
no, I just closed it, didn't take a
Did we
motion.
do that last time?
Yes, we closed the public hearing. Yes, for the text amendment, we
Yeah,
closed
yeah.
the public hearing.
Yeah, we
So we
did.
do need to close the public hearing first, because it
Okay.
was open, yes,
Yeah,
Melissa?
it was.
Do I have to have
Okay.
a motion to close it?
You just need to officially close the.
No, Okay, I'll close the public hearing at 7:43, and then Brian's motion.
Then I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Ginger Riddle,
Yes.
Jeanette LeBee Holdeman,
Yes.
Brian Payne,
Yes.
Jerry Geese,
Yes.
Nancy McDougal,
Yes.
Mike Spazzo.
Yes.
Okay.
Are there any notices or communications that the staff wants to present?
No, I think that this was a good conversation, and I appreciate the feedback from you guys. So,
I have a couple things I'd like to bring up. Could Melissa provide this thing to everybody at the meeting, because the motions are on there, and it's easier
Sure.
for them to read a motion, then that would be, I think, we get a
Will do.
cleaner motion.
Yeah.
The other question I have is, are there 2 CIDs in Town Center, or just one?
there are 2.
Can you
There
tell
is
us-
one that is in the process of being created. We're going to have a public hearing on it on April 2nd.
That's the little strip mall that we've approved.
Nope, that one has already been created.
Oh,
That one
okay.
exists.
Okay.
This is another one for another project. Another developer is coming into town and
Is it a
wants.
secret?
Um,
Can we
kind
know?
I don't know how to answer that question.
How do you do a
Technically, we are still the owners, and we are still the owners of it, and we are creating the CID in preparation for this project.
And the CID requires a public hearing at the city council,
Correct.
and so they'll have to say who they are.
Yes. So it is a hospitality use.
Thank you.
More details to come.
A motion to adjourn?
Can I make one comment?
Oh,
first?
yes, of
Josh, please, next time we're gonna do this, rules and everything.
Yes.
Put them ahead of us.
Oh, well, yes, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Put the
Put
people
them
wanting their
first.
stuff
Yeah.
approved ahead of
They
us,
don't
so they
have
don't
to
have to
sit
sit here and
and
listen
listen
to all
to us try and
that. So
figure it out.
anyway, I'm done.
Good idea.
If there's,
Very good.
yeah.
Motion to.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
Thank you, thank you.